Now let's just say that your ID map isn't doing its job, or you simply never made one. In this lesson, we'll go over a different method for masking our materials. Let's just say we want to add an accent color to our paint. To get started, let's go ahead and add a fill layer. This will be a bluish purple color. And since this will be our accent color, we're going to make it a little bit less rough. I'm also going to go ahead and just name this layer stripes. As you can see, the layer is flooding the entire mesh, so we'll go ahead and add a mask. Instead of adding a mask by color selection, we'll add a white mask. Nothing has changed simply because white means the current layer is visible. Now, anytime you add a black or white mask, you can paint directly on them. To paint in the mask, with the mask selected, indicated by the blue outline, I can begin painting on the mesh as usual. When I do this, it's revealing the material underneath because I am painting black. To see this clearly, I will view the mask on the mesh by holding Alt and clicking on the mask. We painted black onto our white mask. Whenever painting in a mask, you'll always be painting in grayscale values. Now these values are controlled here by the brush palette. Currently I'm painting black. I can go ahead and just slide the value up to white if I want to paint white. Now when I go back to material mode by hitting M, you'll see the fill layer is covering the entire mesh again. If I want to reveal the material underneath, I can go back to the grayscale slider and choose black. I can also change it back to white. Now, a quicker way to change the grayscale value is by using the hotkey X, which will invert your current value. So let's go ahead and paint in an accent color where it makes a little bit more sense. I'm going to go ahead and just remove the white mask by right-clicking and choosing Remove Mask. Let's go ahead and re-add a black mask. Now we can paint in areas where we want this paint layer to show up. This time I'll add an alpha to our brush shape. In our shelf under alpha, let's find Shape Border Circle. Double-clicking on it will apply the alpha to my brush. Now I want this stripe to go along the side of the antenna ball. I will snap my camera by pressing Shift while rotating, and I'll also change the viewport to an orthographic view. Now, using an orthographic projection when doing stamps will reduce any perspective distortion that may occur. Now I'm just going to stamp this onto the area. Doing this on the other side may be quite a hassle, so instead we can use the symmetry plane. And I'll go ahead and just undo that paint. We can find the symmetry tool up by the toolbar. You'll notice a plane directly in the middle of the mesh. Now you can adjust your plane of symmetry by using the icon here. So currently we're on the X symmetry. There's also Y and Z. Let's go back to X symmetry. What this will allow us to do is to paint symmetrically on the mesh, which is a great time saver if your mesh is symmetrical. I'll go back and repaint and get it just right. Zooming out, you can see it projected the paint on both sides of the mesh. I'll go ahead and just disable the symmetry and go back to a perspective viewport. Looking at my accent paint, it actually looks like I painted over a glossy paint layer. I really only want this accent color to be isolated on our base paints. But because we masked our base paints layer, what I can do is simply just drag our stripe fill layer into that base paints folder. And we can just move that to the top of the folder. It is now isolated to only that particular material. Now we can have a little bit of fun and add this accent color wherever we like. I'll go ahead and just put a Substance logo onto my brush and stamp it right here on the forehead. Painting your masks is a great way to separate surfaces that your color ID may not have caught. In this case, we used it to create an accent color for our paint. In the next lesson, we'll look into creating masks using geometry.